Ted, first I wanted to admit that I asked my wife for a Ted Dekker for Christmas this past year with a bow on top. Just want to let you know that. The past two questions kind of overlap. I'm an aspiring novelist, and I've got to myself where I write, 1,000 words a day or 2,000 or 3. But it's the seed of the scripture that I really, what you just started to touch on. When you get an idea that involves spiritual aspects in the scripture, what is it? What are those things that are living in you today? Are you going to certain scriptures every day and study them over and over? Are you praying? How do you continue that and get into like a book like Obsessed? And it's all about being obsessed with our love for God, or what are those practical things that are living in you?
Well, let me answer that this way. There's different ways to be impacted by truth. One is to read the scriptures. Okay? That goes without saying. Another is to read other works by other people who read the scriptures. Yeah? Non-fiction works, for example. Or, others to do studies. Others to go to a place of worship and worship. Another thing is to sit and listen to someone who's speaking. There's all kinds of ways. Another way is to write. Okay? About the truth. Discover the struggle through your character. It's hard to imagine this if you're not a writer, but you are, so you'll understand this. When you actually go with the character and you write the character's journey and their struggle, it's not like you're reading scripture and saying, oh, okay, transplant that here. That makes for a different kind of novel. It'll be fine. CBA is full of them. But these are not the kind of writer stories I write. I write to actually take the journey with the character myself, which is why it feels authentic to the reader. It's an authentic journey. So that character now is discovering. It's like, imagine you had to discover truth out there on your own, on an island, and you're okay? There's lots of tools. You have all that you bring to the table, but now go. I'm not trying to stuff my stories full of scripture. Yeah, scripture finds its way. All of my knowledge, everything I know and experience in my life finds its way into the story, but I want to try to remain true to that character's journey. And that's a writer's question. If that didn't make sense to some of you guys, that's cool. Let me just say it this way to all of you. Writing is a very cool way to discover. It's not for a lazy man. It takes a lot of work. Just sit there and journal. It's like journaling. When you journal, it takes a lot of work. And these days we'd rather sit back and watch something on YouTube. But journaling is a very powerful way of discovery. So, keep that in mind.
As of September 1 of this year, we have followed the books for 15 novels. And I was just curious, at the time that you sat down to write Black, did you realize that it was going to be this wide or this vast of a story?
Short answer, not this vast. Some people are telling me, shut up already, quit writing books of history. Other people are I've written different kinds of novels, so I have different kinds of fans, but I'll tell you what. Initially, I'm going to start with Black, Red, White. It was a trilogy. And then I'm going to continue it with other colors. But we'll see. That was how it started out. And it wasn't until, really to be totally honest with you, it wasn't until after Black, Red, and White came out, and me being on the message boards and watching people, watching you guys, talk, then my mind starts going, and I'm going, and then one day it just hit, book 0. Really, the circle. What if green was a prequel to Black? And what if green was a sequel to White? It's perfect! And the thing, I remember I was driving from Dallas. So I was in a car somewhere, I forget where I was, driving somewhere. And it hit me, boom, and I turned to my wife and go, that's it! I just figured it out. I think I picked up the phone and called Alan Arnold, publisher for those books, and said, I just hit the jackpot of ideas. Because I always wanted to tell the whole story, but how do you do that? You guys are going to find out. Now, in terms of taking that story I have always known for many years that story, Black, Red, and White, is backstory for another story called Showdown Saint Sinner, and that all is all backstory for another story that I have not yet written. But I know it. I know the story. I'm just working up the courage to write it because. Anyway, it's like it's you think that's a trip. It's not like dark and all that. Well, maybe, but it's not like it's way out there. Actually, no. But it's like, yeah. I mean, that story is going to be the mother of all stories. Actually, this is probably the mother of all stories. Black, red, white, green. But this is a pretty cool baby. Forget that. That's a bad analogy. Okay. I forget if I answered the question or not. But I think we're over here.
I was going to ask, what can you tell us about the blood books, Emmanuel's Veins, and Bride Collector?
You see? Well, you see, that's kind of going into forbidden territory right there. Well, I will tell you this. The blood books. You'll learn about the blood books in green. But I can't spoil this. It's unplugged still. I'm still telling you, You can't, I'm telling you, I can't tell you that. Because you will learn about the blood books. Because green, let me give you a few words. Green is about, okay. No, I'm not ruining anything at all. I'm saying green is about, of course, Thomas. Another character, green, Billy. Okay? I've said a lot, actually. I really have. How many understand how much I've just said? Okay, and the guys back there running the soundboard and on the cameras, they're like, what the heck is going on? Because, they have, I don't think they've read these books. They're like, Billy, finally everyone knows what it's about? Anyhow, the blood books. And then Emmanuel's Veins, and that's just a working title, but that whole story is like, it's completely forbidden to talk about that because there is a fountain filled with blood that flows from Emmanuel's veins. It's a hymn, and it's a beautiful hymn. So go. Next time you sing that hymn, think, ooh, Ted talked about Emmanuel's veins. I wonder what he's got cooking. And then in terms of like the Bride Collector, I'm going to talk about that later. Okay. I am going to answer it, but I can't answer it now.
You actually answered the first part of my question, and that was, do you ever have nightmares? And you said a few minutes back that you did. How has that affected your writing?
Well, you have nightmares. I mean, I very rarely have nightmares. In fact, the last nightmare I had was a few years ago, and I woke up in cold sweats. And crap, man, I mean, it's just like turn on the light and pull out the Bible and start reading. What else can you do? And this is what I thought. I said, shoot, you know what, if even, 100 people who read this book have that same reaction, like, crap. Well, maybe that's not the right word. But, oh no. Oh no. This is terrible. This feeling I have is this, oh, what? I have got to get over this. And there's only one way to get over evil. And that is through the light of Jesus Christ. But half the problem is, we spend most of our lives forgetting that evil really exists, so there's no need for the light. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to start preaching, because I do not preach. But I'm saying. Okay, next.